Hakadosh Boker or Masechet Nedarim Daf Amud Aleph 69a1. Says the Gemara, we were talking about now the fourth case. The fourth case was Shama Avia Ve'efella. What happens if the father heard the neder and he did a Farat Nedarim? Will we speak about Lishmua, but the husband did not have time in order to listen to the neder Ad Shemet, until he actually died. Chozer Ha'av Umefer Chelko Shel Baal. The father could go and do a Farat Nedarim now on the chelik of the husband. Amar Binatan, says Binatan, hand divresh Bet Shammai. These are the words of Bet Shammai. Bet Hillel omimena en yachol afer, that you cannot do, which is something incredible, meaning like this. Remember that she was married, but she's only an arusa. So it's only the first step of marriage. So comes and he says like this, he says, what's happening is that right now the father does a Farat Nedarim. Now the husband has to do it. The husband drops dead before he's able to do anything. So what happens? So now the father does it again for the chelik of the husband. Says Bet Hillel, no, you can't do that. So the Gemara says, right? So it says Shema Mina, Bet Shammai. According to this, it comes out that according to Shita Bet Shammai, megas guys, which means that the husband or the father, when they do the neder, they're cutting it in half. That's according to their Shita. And according to Bet Hillel, Miklash Kalish, he's actually machlish the neder, the entire thing itself. Okay, that's what he comes out. So it says, that's what he says. It's like machlish, the making it more kalush, making it more weak. Shema Mina. And that's exactly what you could learn from here. Fine. Another safek, okay? By Rabbi. Rabbi comes and he's going to ask the following question. Yesh she'ela behakem or en she'ela behakem, which means like this. Can you come and start asking hatarat nedarim, right? Just like you do it on the neder in itself or not? What does that mean? Let's see. Okay. Here he comes and he says, for example, let's say the father came and he was mekayim the neder, or the husband was mekayim the neder, right? So can you do a tarat nedarim afterwards? Which means like this. A woman comes and she made a neder. We know that right after, if she makes a neder, the father and the brother have to have tarat nedarim. Imagine right now, they didn't do a tarat nedarim. They were mekayim the neder. They said, I agree with the neder. It's a good neder. That's called kiyum, right? They validated it. They said that it's good. So now, can you do a tarat nedarim afterwards or not? Yesh she'ela behakem or en she'ela behakem. If you're going to tell me now, yesh she'ela behakem, yesh she'ela be'afer or en she'ela be'afer, right? Can you do a she'ela on hafara v'neder or not? So mitzad asfara, you're going to say you cannot lishael al hafara, because even if you're going to tell me that you could do a tarat nedarim on kiyum, right? It's only because, right, the kiyum was giving tokef, it was giving strength to the neder, and therefore it's going to be like that. But hafara is bitul the neder, right? So it's not because it was something different. Okay, fine. So he comes and he says, Tashemala, the Rabbi Yochanan says, Nishalin ala hekem. You couldn't do, right? Nishalin, you could do a tarat nedarim on hekem. Then nishalin afer, but you could not do a tarat nedarim on the afer. Okay, fine. So now says the Gemara, right, as follows. Says the Gemara, by Rabba comes and he asks the following question: Kayem lichi v'kayem lichi. What happens right now if he was mekayem the neder twice? He says kayem, right? Kayem lechi, kayem lechi. It's mekuyam for you, mekuyam for you. And inshallah hakama lishona. He only did, right? He only asked on the first hakama, right? What's the halacha now on the second? Okay. So Tashema Damar Rabba says Rabba, im nishallah lishona shniya chalalav. If right now you asked on the first one, so then the second one is going to be chal. Everyone understood what happened? One more time. A woman comes and she made a neder. The husband or the father comes and they were mekayim the neder, but they weren't mekayim the neder once. They were mekayim the neder twice. Since they were mekayim the neder twice, right? You only went and you did the hatarat nedarim on one. Yeah? Meaning you went and you asked on hatarat nedarim.
No. What does it mean twice?
What does it mean twice? You said kayim nach. You said it twice. You said it twice. That means you were mekayim the neder twice. You came. That was the question. The Gemara asked one more time. The Gemara asked, if you said kayim lechi, right? When now you come and you only asked once to get rid of the neder, what's the halacha? Tashema Rava says in nashal rishona the shniya is chal, because the fact that he came and he was mekayim twice, you need two hatarat nedarim, not once. Two hatarat nedarim. So by Rabba, another safek, kayim lechi umufar lechi. What happens if he says kayim lechi umufar lechi? You did like a double negative. You did it two opposites. Mitzad echad, you said you were mekayem the neder, but then you said mufar lechi, that it's hafarat nedarim. Velo tuchul hakama ela im ken chal hafara. Right? So he says it's not going to chal the kama unless it's chal the hafara. So what's halacha then? What's going on here? He did like a double negative. He said mitzad echad it's kayam. Mitzad echad he said it's going to be me'afer. So how does that work then? Right? How does that work? Usually, if you can do both, but here he did both. What's going to happen? So Samech Teta Mudbet, right? Teta Mudbet says Tashema mi plukta Rabbi Min Rabbi Yosef. So he says like this: we're going to come and bring that there's actually a machloka between Rabbi Min and Rabbi Yosef. Harezo tmurat olah, tmurat shlamim, harezo tmurat olah. Right? Divrei Rabbi Min. Imagine a person comes and he says, you know what? This animal is a substitute for an olah, a substitute for a shlamim. Now it could only be one or the other. It cannot be both. An olah is koche kadashim. Shlamim is kadashim kalim. Right? Their blood is thrown on different places. The matanot are different. The time frame is different. You know, everything's different. So therefore, you went and you said, this is a tmurat olah, this is a tmurat shlamim. Says Rabbi Meir, tmurat olah. Whatever you said first, that's what it is. You said tmurat olah first, tmurat olah first. Rabbi Yosef says, im lekach mitchaven mitechila, right? Which means, if min lechatchila, when you said tmurat olah, right, you had the kavanah to say also tmurat shlamim. Since you cannot do it on two, tvarav kaimim. Each one is going to be chal. So for you have an animal that it's going to be half anolah and half ashlamim. Half, right? Vafilu Rabbi Meir lo kama, and even Rabbi Meir, he didn't say that we go after the lashon and lishon. Lo amar lo techul zo elam ken chal zo. That he said that it's not going to be chal this one if it wasn't chal the other one. But here the amar lo techul kamal elam ken chal afara. But here that the guy came and he said it's not going to be chal the kamal unless afara is going to be chal. Rabbi Meir nami muded afara chala. According to Rabbi Meir, it does help the afara, which means like this. One more time, everybody with me. According to Rabbi Meir, you went and you said two things in one shot. What's halacha? You said olah and shlamim.
No, only the first one.
Only the first one. That's Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says only the first one. So I'm going to ask you a question. She comes and she made a neder. The husband came and he was mekayem the neder, and then he was mefer the neder. That means he validated the neder, and then he did a farat nedarim on the neder. Right? So it should be mekayem according to Rabbi Meir. Says the Gemara, even Rabbi Meir, that he usually says that we go after the first one, which means that it should be mekuyam. Here, he said the words, shelo tachul hakama elam ken chal hafara. The kiyum is not going to be chal unless the mefer, the hafara, is going to be chal. So therefore here, even though you went first and you said kiyum, and only afterwards did you say hafer, the fact that you said the words that it's not going to be chal the kama, which means the kiyum is not going to be chal. It's not going to take place unless the hafara is going to take place. Even according to Rabbi Meir, they both have to take place. Meaning, usually it's true. There's a general rule. Rabbi Meir always goes by the first one. According to Rabbi Yosef, it's half-half because that was your kavanah to do both. Okay, but here the fact that you said it's not going to be chal the kama unless the hafara is going to be chal, they're both chal. Okay. So by Rabbi, Rabbi comes and he says, what happens if he said, Kaim umufar lechi bevatachat now? Until now, we saw Kaim lechi, right? And then mufar lechi, which means I'm being mekayem your neder, and then I'm being mefer your neder. It was two different statements stated one after another. What happens if you made a sandwich? And you said, Kayam umufar lechi. You said it in one shot. It was two contradictory statements, but not like before that you said two different statements one after another. You made a sandwich. Kayam umufar lechi. What's the halacha? Right? Ma'ud. So Tashemad Amar Rabba, kol davar she'eno bezeh achar zeh, afilu bevat achat eno chal. According to Rabba, any time that it's not going to be chal zeh achar zeh, so even if you said it once, it's not going to be chal as well. So since you could not do hakama and hafara together, so therefore, even though you put it as a sandwich, it's not chal.
What's contradictory?
Right, but it's not chal at all. So it's mashma that it's not chal at all. Let me see over here. So here it means that it's not chal at all, which means afterwards you can do whichever one that you want. Meaning the fact that you said a contradictory statement and none of them are chal, a minute later you could still do afara, or a minute later you could still do kiyum. You could do either or, because it was not chal. Okay, fine. Next, okay. So by Rabba comes and he asks the following question: Kaim lechi hayom mahu. What happens if he says it's kaim lechi only today? Everyone understood? One more time. He said kaim lechi, but he only said today. What's halacha? Mi amrin do he say kemanda amala? It's like he told her mufal lechi lemachar. It's already annulled for tomorrow. Or dimar maybe halo amala. He didn't say anything. He just there's no afara. He just said it's ayom. What's gonna happen tomorrow? I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So the final mudalef from the top. Intim salomar ha amala. If you're gonna tell me now halo amala, he didn't say anything. Amala mufar lechi lemachar. What about the opposite way now? If he said mufar lechi lemachar, it's going to be afarat nedarim for you tomorrow. Ma what's halacha? Mi amrin and do we say lemachar lo matzi for that tomorrow you cannot do afarat nedarim. The high the kaim nidres. So therefore, at the end of the day, he was mekayim the neder today. Or Dilmar, maybe we're going to say since he didn't say the words kaim lechi hayom, yeah. So he comes and he says ki ka'amar la mufar lechi lemachar. So when he says that it's going to be mufar lechi lemachar, it's going to be afarat nedarim me'ayom kamar. That means already today. So therefore, we don't know. Okay, so that's what he's actually saying. So again, this is obviously tomorrow's daf is that for the Mishnah then. So it says now, Vimtim Salomar afilu hachi. Now if you're going to tell me now, even so, right? If you're going to tell me now, right, that even so, the what? That it's ki'ilu, you said only mufar rak lemachar. Kevan de kaimu ayom. Since you're mekayem today, lemachar keman di'itedam. So then it's considered ki'ilu that it's going to be mekuyam, right, for tomorrow. Amar la kayam lechi l'sha'ah. What happens if he went and he said, okay, I'm going to be mekayem the nether for 1 hour? Mao, what's halacha? It's like he said that after an hour it's going to be annulled. Or Dimar, maybe Halo Amarla, he didn't say that. So if you're going to tell me now, Halo Amarla, he didn't say, right? At the end of the day, he didn't say that it's going to be Mufar after an hour. He just was Mekayem the hour. Miu Amarla, but if he did say it now, that it's Kayam Lech Sha'a, Mufar Lach Lach Sha'a, what's the halacha? Mi Amrin and do we say, Kevin the Kaymo, once you did the Kiyum, Gamarnu. Well, Dima, given the Kuli Yom Barakama Barafara, since the entire day you could do a Kama and you could do a Farah, Kiamar Mufi Lechachasha Mehani. So therefore you could say it. Which means one more time. Let's take ourselves out. One more time. We know that it's only the same day that the husband or the father, Yom Shemua Isha, it has to be the same day that the father or the mother or the husband listens to it, that it has to do a Farah Nedarim Kiyum. Now the question is like this. Do we say that he only has the power of doing one? That means the second that he does Kiyum Kaddish, he only did Kiyum for 1 hour. But then 5 minutes later, he said that even immediately, he said it's going to be Kayam for 1 hour, but then after that, it's going to be Mufarlach. And he said it. He said it's going to be Mufarlach. Do we say once he did the Kiyum Kaddish, right? Or once he did a Farah Kaddish? Or do we say the entire day he has in his power to come and to do Kiyum the Neder or Hafarat Nedarim? So therefore, the entire day he could. So right now it's going to be Kayam for an hour. 20 minutes later, it's going to be a Faran Nedarim for another hour. And then he has the power of doing that. So what's halacha? That's what we're asking, basically. Okay, everyone understood? Mm-hmm. Okay, so Tashema.
Will be a game.
Yeah, so he comes and he says, yes, so Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof. Hareni Nezira, Veshama Ba'ala Ve'amar Va'ani. Imagine right now, a woman comes and she says, I'm a Nezira. The husband hears, and he says, Va'ani. Me too. Yeah. What does that mean?
Penetration.
En yachol le'afer. He cannot do afarat nedarim anymore. No. Right? V'amai. Why? Neima va'ani. Right? De'amar. Hu an nafsheh de'aven nazir. Aval hareni nazira dila. D'sha'a achat kaima. Na'achar sha'a. Ibai le'afer. Right? Amai en yachol le'afer. So one second. When she says she's a nazira. When he comes and he says the word va'ani, it just means that he himself is also a nazir. But it doesn't mean that he validated what she said, or maybe it had to do with what she said. He could still annul after an hour, or after 2 hours, or whenever it is. He could still annul that. So he says, so why do we say that Hareni Nazir did Nazira of hers is good? Maybe after an hour he could do it. Why can't he do that? La mishum dekev nekiyemo kiyamo. Isn't it not because the second that he was mekayem et zeh, that's it, it's kiyam? Meaning, when the husband came and he said ba'ani, he had to be mekayem her neder. Because if he's not mekayem her neder, he's approving her because he says that I also. Because if I say I also, and I'm just annulling her neder, so I'm nothing. The fact that he said I also, it means that I agree with what she said. So if she's a nazira and I'm a nazir, because he didn't say ani gam nazir, he just says ba'ani. Ba'ani means an I what? Obviously, that means if you're validating that she's a nazira, you are also a nazir. So the fact that you were validating her nazirut for one moment, so therefore you can't do it anymore. The what? The hafarat nedarim. Says the Gemara, no, it's incorrect. Kasavar, he says, kol ba'ani keman de'amar kayem lechi leolam. He says, no. He holds that ba'ani is worse than a regular kiyum. When you say ba'ani, it means it's kayam leolam. It means that it's kayam forever. And therefore, it's not just for the sha'ah, for a moment or a few minutes or for today. When you said ba'ani, it means for sure it's kayam. That's it. There's nothing to do. So therefore, even afterwards, you want to come and you want to do hafarat nedarim, it doesn't help. That's why. That's because you said ba'ani. But you cannot bring a proof from there, right? You cannot bring a proof from there, right? That what? That it has to be like that forever. Which means that it comes out that the Gemara does not answer the safek of Rabbi. Because basically, since Rabbi had a safek, we have to be machmir on everything, and therefore it's going to be that it's just to say that it's not mufar and misafek. You understand what happened? Because basically we tried to disprove, we tried to bring a proof to Rabbi. Rabbi came and he had a safek. He went and he said the second he was mekayem the neder. Can he do a farat nedarim afterwards? Yes or no? We came and we tried to bring a proof that the second you were mekayem, you cannot do it. Says the Gemara, we disproved that. Why? Because when you said the word ba'ani, kaddish, it's forever. When you say ba'ani, it means forever. That you are also a nazir and she's also a nazir. Right? There's no farat nedarim.
When it says ba'ani.
So with this, Bezrat Hashem, we just finished until the Mishnah. So tomorrow morning, we're starting from the Mishnah on Daf Ayin, Amud Aleph on the bottom. Okay, have a wonderful day.